Hey friends, welcome back to Beer and Beauty. It's Kasha. Today's beverage of the day is the same beverage that I'll be enjoying in the next video that you're going to see, which is going to be my long-awaited eyeshadow palette declutter video. But today's video is going to be my face palette declutter video. But I wanted to give this wine a proper representation, a proper platform, because it is very special, especially because it was given to me by my good friend Taylor for Christmas. She bought this wine especially for me because of the artwork. I'm a face and body painter, by the way, and she bought it for me because this beautiful lady so much noise today. I'm very unhappy about it. I have to find out what's going on upstairs because this is so much noise. Well, that's very unfortunate. Renovators upstairs doing renovations, so we're just gonna have to push through it, guys. I know you want to see this video, so I'm gonna create it for you, despite the noise. I hope you're okay with that. But anyway, my dear friend Taylor got me this bottle of wine called Aloe Vera because artwork on the label depicts a lady with beautiful, colorful eye makeup, and that made her think of me because I'm a face painter and I love me some colorful eyeshadow, and I think that's really sweet that she thought of me. So cheers to that. It's very flavorful. It's got a little bit of spice at the beginning of the tongue, but it goes down really smoothly. It's nice, full-bodied wine. Very complex flavor, very delicious. I'm gonna love this, so I highly recommend. Thank you so much, Taylor. I love this wine. Yes, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the face palette declutter. I counted just now, and I believe I have about 32, 33 face palettes. The video that is in question right now is going to be just palettes that have a face product in them. Some of them will have eyeshadows in them as well. Some of them are blush palettes, some of them are bronzer palettes, contour palettes, palettes, what have you. But all of them will have some sort of face product in them. And then the video coming out tomorrow is going to be exclusively just my eyeshadow palettes. And that video, I have 102 eyeshadow palettes, and I'm trying to, in both videos, cut my collection in half. I want to have half as many products by the end of it all as I did at the beginning. And everything will be in alphabetical order, so, or at least the first letter of the brand will be. If needed, if this video ends up being long, I'm gonna add timestamps. I believe I'm definitely gonna need to do timestamps for the next one, but let's go ahead and get into it. Let's declutter some palettes. Oh, and be sure to subscribe to this channel if you like to declutter videos. I'm going to be doing a lot of them in the next couple of days. I'm also doing Vlogmas right now. If you like Vlogmas, like constant videos, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell for that as well. I'll have a link down to my Poshmark below and to my merch shop below if you're interested in picking up some special festive holiday merch created by me. I also have my Poshmark below because many of the palettes that are very gently used, I'm going to list on my Poshmark if you'd like to get some very cheap makeup that's very gently used. And I'm also running a giveaway on my last BoxyCharm unboxing video, so if you'd like to enter a giveaway, that link to that video will be down below as well. Okay, I think that covers everything. Let's get into the video. Okay, so here's all my face palettes right here. Quite a few. Let's go ahead and count them real quick.
We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Already not working. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32.
Okay, we got 33 palettes. So we're gonna try to whittle it down to half of that. So I guess I'm allowed to keep like 15 or 16. That's gonna be really hard. I think I could definitely break it down to 20. Because some of these are really utilitarian for me. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I think I can get it down to at least 20. I'll try to get it down to 16 or 15. We'll see. All right, here we go. These are all towards the end. But I just realized I am missing a palette, so a good thing I did this little alphabetical order thing. I see what happened and it landed on the floor. So, how many palettes? So we got 33. And yeah, that still stands that I needed to declutter half. So, let's go ahead and start with A. Just for reference, everybody, everything's gonna be in alphabetical order. So, if there's a certain part of the video or a certain brand that you're interested in, you can skip around and find it. So, first up in alphabetical order would be Alamar Cosmetics, and this is a little Alamar Cosmetics blush palette that I got in a BoxyCharm. These are absolutely gorgeous. I love these blushes, and I still haven't used them nearly quite enough, so that is definitely what I'm going to keep. Next up is Anastasia Beverly Hills. So these are all my different face palettes that I have from Anastasia. These 5 are actually highlighter palettes, and this is a brow palette. So this one I have to keep because this is a staple inside my makeup kit. So I use this on clients and stuff, so this one I have to keep. I really love my Moonchild palette and my Aurora palette. These are colorful highlighter palettes, and I do use both of these pretty often. This one's kind of newer. I got this palette around this time last year at TJ Maxx, the Aurora palette. And I've only gotten a chance to use it a little bit. But yeah, I think I'd like to hold on to both of these. The truth is I haven't used the Aurora palette as much as the Moonchild. So next time I do a declutter, I think I might have to declutter the Aurora. But I don't know, I still haven't used it enough. And I'm not ready to part with it yet, so. But when it comes to these glow kits, I have to declutter at least one of them, possibly 2. This is the first one that I bought was the Gleam palette, followed by the Sun Dipped, and lastly the Sugar palette. These are the glow kits, and they were really amazing, like beloved highlighters in my collection. And this is the newest one. It's got a broken shade in it, but I still haven't used it in a big way. So part of it is because I knew it was broken and I'm just scared to pick this palette up. But what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move around some of the shades here and make a palette that I'm definitely gonna love. I'd like to keep Marshmallow and Starburst. And let's see. I really liked Moonstone. I really liked Heart Candy. That's actually a really unique color. I think these 2 are the same. Let's go ahead and swatch them. They look pretty similar, but also a little different. I'd like to keep the one that's a little bit more pink. Still feels so buttery, and yeah, actually when you look at it on camera, they're really similar. It's hard to tell which one's which. Marshmallow is really interesting. I definitely want to keep this one. All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and pull out the ones that I definitely want to keep. So I definitely want to keep this one. Definitely want to keep this one. Heart Candy is a little dark on me, but it's such an interesting shift. It's got this like strange little pink shift. That one's super interesting. Obviously the one I gravitate most in the Gleam palette is this Frosty. It's almost kind of got like it's called Crushed Pearl. It's almost kind of got like a greenish reflect to it. Very beautiful for lighter skin tones. Butterscotch is very like lemon yellowy. Ugh. And this color Gumdrop, I have to repress that. I might make a video repressing this, but that's also got a beautiful like, I kind of like Gumdrop better than Hard Candy. Though I feel like the Sun Dipped palette is a palette that I use the most. Like I've always kind of gotten the most use out of it. So that's the Summer color. And honestly, I think I can part with Summer if I'm going to keep Butterscotch, because they're both kind of like goldish. I don't know, I feel like the Butterscotch color is just a little bit more unique. I used to mess around with Tourmaline quite a bit, but oh, that is so blingy. Ugh. But it is a little dark on me, so that one's hard for me to use. I never really touched bronzed except on clients, like on clients with deeper skin tones. I think I can part with Moonstone, so I think I can part with all of the Sun Dipped palette, actually. And I could probably part with Mimosa. This is pretty crazy of me, but I think I'm just gonna keep Sugar, and I'm gonna declutter both Gleam and Sun Dipped, which is so hard for me because these were such special palettes for me for such a long time. They were just like beloved pieces in my collection, but they're still pretty gently used. So I think I could probably find some takers for them online. So I'm going to declutter both of these and just keep sugar, and I have to repress that one too. So 2 in the declutter pile. Oh, this is going to be hard, guys. And the next couple ones I'm going to show you, it's going to be really hard for me to declutter them because I love them. So this is a palette I just took traveling with me to Los Angeles. I take this palette to traveling with me all the time. This is the In the Balm of Your Hand Volume 2 palette by The Balm. I feel like I'm gonna hit pan on Bahama Mama because that's the bronzer I usually take traveling with me. I love these blushes. I do mess with Mary Luminizer quite a bit, even though now that I've been a makeup enthusiast for a little while, I find that I don't use Mary Luminizer as a highlighter as much, but I do use it when I take this palette traveling because I tend to take this palette traveling a lot. So I'm going to hold on to this. I still haven't really used the eyeshadows at all in this palette, so I got to work on that. But I do love the face products in this palette, so holding on to that for a little while. So I got these 2 Becca palettes. I think I'm going to keep both of them. So this is the Becca Jaclyn Hill collaboration. Really lovely palette. I mostly use it for the highlighters, and I'm keeping this palette especially because I am planning on decluttering my single Champagne Pop. I'm just going to use the palette to have that color. Really beautiful. Champagne is obviously a cult classic highlighter. Prosecco Pop is also really beautiful. You know, I'm just curious to see how these shadows compare. Prosecco Pop is a little bit more subdued, but it reminds me a lot of this color from, I think it's the Sun Dipped palette, another golden color, so that one's pretty close. So I definitely don't need to keep both. And I do need to use the blushes a lot more, so I don't know. I'm going to keep this palette for now, but it is possible that I might declutter it next time I have a declutter. So that is being held on to for now. And this palette is actually one of my favorite face palettes in my collection. And this Malibu Soleil highlighter is bronzer is my favorite bronzer. This is the Chrissy Teigen collab palette. I absolutely love the shade of this highlighter. It's called Beach Nectar. It's this beautiful peachy highlighter. It's gorgeous. I absolutely love that. And it's also got rose gold in there. I don't use the blush very often, but I should try to. I feel like in medium skin tones that would be gorgeous. I mean, obviously that's why Chrissy Teigen put it in this palette. And then it's got the rose gold highlighter, so I'll kind of have like the complete Becca highlighter collection because I have this palette. So I'm going to hold on to that for now. Oh, you guys, this is so hard. What am I going to do? This is another palette I have to keep because it's such an essential piece in my makeup artist's kit. So this is the Benefit Cheek Parade palette. These 3 shades have really decent dips into them. I've started to use Rockateur a lot more lately too. So I use Hoola and Hoola Light while I'm freelancing all the time. Dandelion is a just gorgeous neutral blush that's excellent for fair to light skin tones. I haven't really been into luminous blushes a lot in my makeup artist career, but I'm starting to get into them. So I'm starting to get into these colors too. So I just think this palette is lovely, and I have to hold on to it for now because I just need to. So yeah, we're not doing so good so far. We're holding on to 8. We're getting rid of 2. So really hard too because this is still a palette that I love, even though I don't reach for it too often because it's so kind of light toned. And well, this is the BH Cosmetics Harley Bible Deluxe Edition palette. It meant to, last time I did a declutter, I said I would use these highlighters a little bit more, and I have, but still I don't use them enough. I still love this palette. I think it's so beautiful. It's so bridal. It's such a great palette for beginners. I'm not doing so good on the declutter end of things. I don't know. I really want to keep this, and it's a bigger palette. This is gonna go in the maybe pile for now. I want to keep it, but if I can't declutter enough palettes, then I might not be able to keep it. So next up is ColourPop. This is the ColourPop Innuendo palette. It's another highlighter palette. It's got some beautiful golds in here too, so this actually makes me not feel so bad about getting rid of Sun Dipped from Anastasia because some of these colors are really like similar to some of these sun dipped colors. Oh yeah, and they're a little bit more blingy too. So that makes me feel better about parting with sun dipped. And I still haven't spent nearly enough time with this palette. And I think now that I'm parting with the Anastasia palettes, I'll get more use out of this one. So that is great. This is a palette I've really enjoyed. I got this in a BoxyCharm a while ago, but they mistakenly gave me the deep edition of it rather than the light edition of it. Like, this is for medium to deep skin tones, and they should have given me the fair to light skin tones one. Even though I think it's really pretty, I've gotten it to work for me just fine. I actually really love this finishing powder as a blush for me, but I've used it a little bit freelancing, but this is something that's already on my Poshmark. I've only used this like maybe 5 times tops, so this is something that's on my Poshmark. So that is something I'm going to declutter. This is an e.l.f. blush palette. I still haven't gotten a ton of use out of it. I never think to pick it up. I think it's just because it's like not that unique. I think I bought it just because I saw it and I thought it was pretty, but I still haven't gotten a ton of use out of it. I'd like to keep it to use it more, but the truth is I haven't reached for a ton and I need to declutter more things. So this is going to go in the maybe pile. And we'll see. Next up is Hourglass. I have 2 Hourglass palettes here. I have the Ambient Lighting Edit palette. I think this is one of the first edit palettes they put out. I still enjoy this and use it often. And I absolutely love this palette. I've hit pan on this shade right here, the setting powder shade. And I also have that shade in this palette, and I'm also trying to hit pan on this one just because it is such a beautiful shade. It's called Dim Light. Yeah, is that called Dim Light on this one too? Yep, it's called Dim Light, and I use it as a setting powder, like a luminous setting powder, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. It's like blurring. I love it. I haven't used the highlighters very much, but the blushes are incredible and the bronzer is incredible. I absolutely love this palette. It's one of my prized possessions. And next year I think I will declutter it because it is getting to be like 3 years old at this point, but it still performs well. This palette is about 2 years old, but it still performs really well. I'm trying to hit pan on this shade right here, the Dim Light shade. I got a pretty good dip on it. It's in my project pan. And I do love to use this highlighter. It's actually a really gorgeous, like, luminous, like lit from within kind of highlighter. It's got a little bit of sparkle to it, but like very gentle. And yeah, I think it'd be nice to use this like darker shade on some deeper skin tones. That would be really pretty. But yeah, I think I'd like to keep both of those. Next up is my Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. I'm not buying from Kat Von D at the moment. This is a palette that I've gotten to know very well in my makeup artist career, like in a big way. So I'm really familiar with how these shades look on like every skin tone, and I still reach for it all the time because of that. I'm still very well acquainted with it and I can't get rid of it just yet. Hit pan on this shade right here. Yeah, I have to hold on to this just because it's still such an essential in my kit. Oh, I've been trying to use this palette a lot more this year. I actually got this at IMATS this year. It's kind of a new addition to my collection in terms of what I've added to my collection this year. And I am loving the contour shades. They're absolutely beautiful. I think once I get a little bit more acquainted with these shades, I will be able to declutter this, but I'm still, as far as the setting shades go, these are really unique in my collection. I still need them and use them all the time on my clients. I don't really like the highlighters in this palette, but I love the blush, and I especially love the contour shades. Contour shades are like chef's kiss. They're just like perfect. They're absolute perfection. So I will hold on to my Kevyn Aucoin contour book. Next up is Linda Hallberg. So I've got the Infinity Deep palette over here and the Enchanted Secrets palette. I haven't used this Infinity Deep palette that much, but when I first got it, I was absolutely loving this red shade. This apparently would make a really gorgeous like blush on deep skin tones, but I haven't got a chance to use that for that yet. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, this Polar Stars color looks like it'd be really similar to Tourmaline. So there's Tourmaline and there's Polar Star, It's a little bit more champagne-y. This one's a little bit more cool toned, but I think that would be a really gorgeous color on deep skin tones. Nice, beautiful, like gold highlighter for deep skin tones right there. And I've used the Umbra color as a contour a little bit. It works on lighter skin tones, it's a little bit, you have to go in with a light hand. And I feel like that, yeah, light year would be a nice setting shade for deeper skin tones. I want to play with this a lot more. It's still kind of new. I got it around this time last year, so it's new-ish. And it says it's good for 24 months, so I can feel okay about holding on to that still. And this is the Enchanted Secrets palette. This is so beautiful. Just look at it. It's just, what are you talking about? Like, it's so pretty. I have shades in my Pat McGrath palette that are pretty similar to this shade. This is like one of the more extraordinary shades in the palette. It's like pink to green shifting kind of highlighter. But a lot of these other shades are pretty interesting too. And unfortunately, I am getting rid of the beautiful embossing. I'm gonna hold on to this for a little while longer. I have to promise myself that I'm gonna use it, or else I have to get rid of it before summertime hits. Actually, I think I'm gonna put this. Oh, I ordered this palette from Sweden, and I had to pay shipping and like stuff from Sweden to get it because it's so beautiful. But the truth is, I just don't use it very often. So this is in the maybe pile. That's really hard because that is such a beautiful palette. And I'm still not parting with it, but it's hard to even be real with myself and be like, listen, am I gonna use this in the next 6 months? I don't know if I will. So putting that in the maybe pile for now. So next up is the category M, and we have my Milk Makeup palette. And I haven't used this a ton this year, but it's so unique and pretty. It's so, the holographic powder quad, and it's got these gorgeous like shifting holographic highlighters in here, colorful. And you know what? I was a little bit sad about parting with one of the highlighter palettes from the Anastasia, but this one's super similar to that one. Yeah, that was the color Hard Candy. And this one's a little bit more reflective, and it's got a little bit of a green tinge to it, so that's really interesting too. This color is super interesting. It's got like a bluish kind of shift, bluish green shift. It's super cool. So that I'm gonna keep. I think I'm at my limit, you guys. I think almost everything else has to get decluttered. Yeah, you guys, there's no way I'm gonna declutter half. I might try to get it down to 20. Morphe. I've got 3 Morphe palettes here. This palette, the Morphe 9BZ palette, this is already on my Poshmark. It's a very gently used bronzer palette. I've barely used it, and that is on my Poshmark. So if you want to get a cheap bronzer palette from Morphe, that's that. Next up we have the Morphe 9B palette. So this was in my Project Pan. It was very foolish of me to put a blush palette into a Project Pan. It was just never going to happen. I was never going to pan these. It's so sad because I promised myself I would use this palette more this year. And I just never, ever reach for it. But I'm so interested in using like the red, and like these are such fun like winter blush colors. I don't know. This is in the maybe pile. If I decide to keep that, I have to use it like in the next 6 months. And this is the Morphe 9N palette. And the truth is, I'm just not drawn to a lot of these colors. Like some of these I think would make really beautiful blushes. I've only used this maybe like 5 times, and I think I can find a better home for it on Poshmark. So this is a very gently used product. I'm gonna put that one on my Poshmark too. That is gonna get decluttered. All right, so next up is Oprah. This is a kind of new item in my collection. I just opened it and used it for the first time earlier this year. I got it at the end of last year, just opened it for the first time this year. I fell in love with the highlighters big time. And I'm not ready to part with it yet. I haven't used the eyeshadows at all, but I do love the highlighters. I love the banana powder. I have used some of these darker shades down here as like contour colors, but they're a little bit dark for me. I like this bronzer, but it is a little dark for me. I think it would be more fun in summertime. And I'm gonna hold on to this palette for a little while longer because this is my only like Oprah face palette situation, so I'm gonna hold on to that. All right, so next up we got Sleek. And this is a palette that I've is so blingy and amazing and gorgeous, but I still haven't used it in like a big way. They're so reflective. I think something that is, this is hard. I don't know if I'll reach for this. I'm thinking about what I'm gonna keep in terms of will I use it in the next 6 months? And I might use this like once or twice. And if that's the case, I'd be better off passing it on for somebody that's gonna use it more than twice in the next 6 months, you know what I mean? As pretty as this is, and as much as I wanna keep it, I just don't know if I'm gonna use it that often. So I'm just trying to be practical, trying not to be wasteful. So I'm gonna put this in the maybe pile for now. I thought for sure I was gonna keep that one, but I'm trying to be practical, honest with myself about what I'm gonna actually use, so. All right, 2 palettes from Smashbox. Here is a Smashbox lip palette. This is the 25-year anniversary lip palette. I might hold on to this just because I'm planning on taking more classes at cinema makeup school when I move out there. No, I don't know if you guys know yet, but I put a deposit down on a apartment in Los Angeles, so I'm planning on moving out there at the very beginning of 2020, and when I do that, I'd like to sign up for more classes at cinema makeup school. I might use that in that situation for like, you know, artistic little fun this and that, but I don't know. That is in the maybe pile. I think I'm probably gonna declutter this. It doesn't have an expiration date or even one of those jars, but it is a cream product. This is in the maybe pile for now. And this is something I feel like I have to declutter just because it's like, I've had it for so long and I'm just not getting nearly enough use out of it. This is my Smashbox Masterclass Palette Lighting Theory Edition. I have used it a little bit more. This is currently in my project pan. I've used it for the contour colors a little bit this year, and I have hit pan on those colors. I've used it for the, oh, that's used for that, but I haven't touched these like cream highlighter shades. They're not very blingy. They're not, I don't know, they're not enough. And I think that these blush shades are really pretty, but I just never reach for them, which is a shame. Even so, I feel like that I have similar blushes elsewhere in my collection, and I just never use these eyeshadows at all. Even though they seem like very well thought out selection of eyeshadows, never reach for this. It's too bulky of a palette. It's not particularly handy to have, so that is something I'm gonna declutter. I mean, if you're somebody that has like a smaller collection, packaging's kind of fun and nice. It's nice and hollow. But if you're somebody that has a smaller collection, or if you're like need a palette to practice with, if you're learning how to do makeup, be really handy for you. But as somebody that has a large collection, I just never reach for this one. Not nearly enough, at least. Okay, so next up we have Tarte. This is a Tarte Color Wheel blush book. Really fun and beautiful. I used this freelancing for a long time, but I haven't reached for it very much this past year, so this is something I will declutter. It is beautiful and super versatile, and the blushes make gorgeous like shades. Like over here we got like summer shades, over here we got more winter shades. It's like a very well thought out little thing, but I haven't used it in this past year because I have way too many blushes, and that's why we need to declutter. So that's something I'm going to be decluttering. Kind of a new thing. As you can see, it's like not even been touched. Yeah, I've used some of the blushes, but not the bronzers in this. I don't know. It was something that was kind of coveting. Like I remember when the highlighter book came out from Tarteist. It's the, yeah, Tarteist Pro Glow palette is what I have right here. Beautiful packaging, really smooth powders. Let's swatch some of these highlighters actually. Pink shadow actually reminds me of the Sleek shades, so I think if I'm gonna keep this palette, I can definitely declutter the Sleek palette. Even though this hurts me because I was coveting this palette for so long, but the truth is I just don't reach for it very often. So I'm gonna hold on to this palette for a little while longer out of it, but if I don't use it in the next 6 months, I might declutter that one too. And next up we have a Wonder Beauty palette. It's a blush palette, absolutely gorgeous colors. I think this would be really useful, but I have so many blushes in my collection, and it's just one I haven't used very much. It's pretty new. I've only had it for a few months, and this is something that's already on my Poshmark page. So, And the last thing we have to show you here is just a palette of singles here. This item right here, I think I'm gonna throw away. It's a Stilazzi matte blush. It's broken and I've never had a desire to use it. It's too light. So I think I'm gonna get rid of that. This blush, I think this is from, as like a free bonus with like a Nigel's order at some point. I don't reach for it very often. No! This is a Marc Jacobs blush. And it's like really pretty, but I don't use it very often. So yeah, where did I even get this? It's too light for me. And I can't even use it on my clients. It's a little bit too light. So that is something I'm gonna declutter. 2 ColourPop blushes, 1 MAC blush, 1, not blush, but eyeshadows. These are eyeshadows. It's like an indie brand that I got this highlighter out of an Ipsy bag. Really pretty, but I just never use it. So basically all the face products that are inside this palette, I'm gonna declutter. Let's go ahead and go through the maybes again. I've already decided that I'm going to declutter the Sleek palette. So that means out of the maybe pile, I can keep 2 items. So the Smashbox lip palette is definitely gonna go. And I think when I go to cinema makeup school, I want to take this advanced beauty theory class. And this might come in handy for that class. So this one I think I'm gonna keep. That one's a little bit more special. Out of these 3 items, what am I the most likely to use? Probably not the blush palette, even though I've never really used it. No, that makes it a perfect candidate for something I can list on Poshmark for pretty cheap. I'm such a sucker for this palette. I want to keep it so badly. Can I keep both of these palettes? Can I? This might come in handy in cinema makeup school. This would really push me out of my comfort zone if I really like managed to use it. I feel like this is starting to love this color a lot and this color, and I just really want to use these neon colors a little bit more. I really want to keep this palette. Okay, how many palettes am I keeping?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19.
I got 20 palettes in the keep pile. I really want to keep this. But the truth is, I just haven't reached for it for so long. And I probably won't reach for it for a while, even though this shade is so unique and cool and different and so pretty. Such a pretty little peachy shimmer shade. It's got these big pans of these fun, like, the truth is, I don't know, I'm just not reaching for it enough. And I have lots of eyeshadow palettes that will work, and it's big, and I should probably declutter it because it's so big, and it will save me a lot of space in my bags when I go to move. So, this is so hard, but this is one that I'm gonna declutter. We got 20 items in the keep pile, and everything else is in the declutter pile. So, let me show you what I'm decluttering in the declutter pile. This is my declutter pile. We got, how many items? We got 13 items in the declutter pile. Pretty much most of these items are gonna be available on my Poshmark. If you'd like to pick any of these items up, I'm gonna be pricing them at like price to sell prices. They're gonna be really cheap. You're probably gonna be able to walk away with pretty much everything here for under $10. So if you're interested in that, I will put that on my Poshmark, and anything that doesn't sell by January 1st, I'm gonna give away to friends. Or anything that, you know, I'm gonna put this all in my declutter pile. And if friends want them, friends can take them as I visit friends in the next couple of days. A lot of people are gonna be doing Christmas break and stuff, and I'm gonna give things. So these are my keep items over here. So these are my keep items. I've got 20 items that I'm going to be keeping, and I'm actually kind of excited to have like a smaller collection that seems more manageable of things that I get to use. And I'm going to feel a little bit less guilt about having things that I just don't use in my collection. Certain items here are still guilty of that, but seeing as I have less items here now, perhaps I will get to using those unused items a little bit more. Like the Alamar Cosmetics palette I want to use a lot more. The Inudendo palette I really want to use more. The Milk Makeup palette. The Infinity Day palette, Enchanted Secrets. But you know, these items up here do get used quite a bit. Yeah, these items right here, they get used a lot. Yeah, actually, most of these items get used a lot. So those are the ones I keep. And these items are the ones I need to use more. And yeah, actually, that's really manageable to have like 7 items that I need to use more in the next 6 months. Otherwise, I have to decide about them if I'm going to keep them or not. That is it. All right, friends, so that was my face palette declutter video. I think this is pretty successful. I feel like my collection is a little bit more manageable. I'm gonna have lots of fun things to give away to friends and sell on Poshmark to help me fund my big cross-country move as well. And I feel really good about doing this. I feel a little bit cleansed, a little bit more like I can breathe, you know? So that's pretty cool. Subscribe and catch the next one. Tomorrow I'm going to post my eyeshadow palette declutter video. So if you like declutter videos, you're going to like that one. It's big. It's hefty. Also, lipstick declutter coming up and highlighter declutter coming up. So keep your eyes out for that.